In the heart of Sanders country, the struggle is not so much for votes now as votes later. Bernie Sanders supporters are confident of victory in the Washington State Democratic Caucus on Saturday, driven by substantial support in Seattle, the first major city to pass a $15 an hour minimum wage and home to the only socialist council member in the U.S. Seattle, which accounts for about one-third of the vote in the state, has donated more money per capita to the Sanders campaign than any other large city. But Hillary Clinton, who lost Washington state to Barack Obama in the 2008 primary, is edging ever closer to the Democratic nomination. And with the latest Bloomberg news poll showing Sanders in a virtual tie with Clinton across the U.S., her campaign has been treading the challenging path of taking on Sanders without alienating his supporters as she looks to the presidential election. It's proving a difficult task in Seattle, where hostility toward Clinton has grown as her campaign pushed claims she has long been a champion of progressive causes. US election delegate tracker chart the candidate's path to the nomination. Read more. The U.S.'s only elected socialist council member, Kshama Sawant, who was instrumental in passing a law instituting a $15 an hour minimum wage in Seattle, has thrown her support behind Sanders while accusing Clinton of being a front for corporate interests. Sawant, who credits her re-election late last year in part to Sanders' campaign creating enormous momentum for change that has helped engage young people and alienated workers in politics, protested inside a Clinton rally this week with a sign, "I'm not with her." The Clinton camp, sensing the nomination is all but won, has been urging her supporters in Washington to reach out to those who back Sanders to ensure they vote for her in the general election. That's proving a tough sell with some of those campaigning for the former Secretary of State. A Clinton support group in the state, Washington Women for Hillary, appealed for her backers to take the high road and build bridges with Sanders supporters to ensure a strong Democratic turnout in the general election. But that prompted a discussion about how difficult it will be to work with people who have been so dismissive, arrogant and downright nasty. Eva Raczkowski-Bennett posted a message on the Washington Women for Hillary Facebook page saying some attacks by Sanders supporters are out of order. It often gets so nuts that it makes me think of Donald Trump and his supporters, she said. Another, Carol Andriver, wrote, "I really don't have much problem with Sanders. However, his followers have been horrible, nasty, attacking, figurative gang rapists of anyone supporting Hillary, and I am very glad those people will not be in power. They are as bad as Trumpsters." Sanders' campaign officials acknowledge that there is a problem with some of his supporters who tend to regard Clinton, not the Republicans, as the real enemy. But they insist abuse comes from only a small proportion of activists. Still, it's a trend that worries Shelby Gittens, a volunteer at the Sanders campaign office in central Seattle. She has her concerns about Clinton but will still back her. "I hesitate, but I'm not going to not vote. I read somewhere that 30% of Bernie's supporters say they won't vote for her. That's the thing that scares. I don't really understand it. I don't think she's an evil human being and I would support her over Trump if those two end up being the last two standing. But there's a lot of people say they won't vote for her," said Gittens, who first got to know Sanders while living in Vermont.